All right. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Thank you. Okay.
it's a little low.
A li- Okay, it's a little bit low. Is that my cat or y'all's? Check one, two. Oh. I threw my cat outside because she wouldn't shut up. Okay. Okay, so now that you guys can hear me, I'm going to put my headset back in. I really apologize. I was on here 15 minutes ago, and for some reason, I must have had the mic on somewhere else on another program. Oh, okay. Well, so much for sound check. Okay, let's try. Yeah, I'm going to see if my track is going to work on my phone, and if it doesn't, I'll just play it live. All right. Michael, let me know if you can hear this, okay? Can you hear that? That was good. All right. We're all set. And we are live and we are running now. All right. We're going to officially start. All right. Welcome, welcome, everyone. My name is Jennifer Farron. I apologize for the brief delay for technical gremlins, but I think we have everything under control. Welcome, welcome to One World Spiritual Center live via Zoom this morning. We're going to open up with a song written by me last year called Spirit Work Through Me. If you're on mute, then I invite you to sing along. I am open, spirit enter in. I am open, spirit work through me. Use my hands, use my feet, use my mind, all of me. I am open, spirit work through me. It'll happen like 10 times through the song. So eventually you'll get it and you'll be able to sing along. Here we go. I am open, spirit enter in. I am open, spirit work through me. Use my hands, use my feet, use my mind, all of me. I am open, spirit work through me. And when my soul is feeling weary, and there's no path that I can see, I remember love within me, invited to express, then watch what comes next. I am open, spirit enter in. I am open, spirit work through me. Use my hands, use my feet, use my mind, all of me. I am open, spirit work through me. And when I feel like I am drifting, and when I find it hard to breathe, there's a light that washes through me. A power is revealed, and suddenly I'm healed. I am open, spirit enter in. I am open, spirit work through me. Use my hands, use my feet, use my mind, all of me. I am open, spirit work through me. All the blessings manifesting, all the worries melt away, all the joy is resurrecting, and all the doubt is kept at bay. Hey, I am open, Use my hands, use my feet, use my mind, all of me. I am open, Spirit, work through me. Repeat that line. I am open, Spirit, work through me. Let's take that energy and breathe in. Take a nice cleansing breath. Leave everything else outside. Welcome, welcome. You are here now, and we are so glad to be connecting with each other on this special day. So, I'd like to take just a few minutes to make sure that we align ourselves and get center. Maybe sit upright, put your feet flat on the ground, and let's just do like 2 or 3 breaths in. We're going to breathe in love. We're going to breathe out perfect alignment. We're going to breathe in connection. We're going to breathe out calm and peace. And one more breath in. Breathing in delight. And let's breathe out delight and share that with the world today. So we have an opening prayer, a community prayer, and it's an adaptation from a prayer from the Jewish tradition. And it says, for cities and towns, factories and farms, flowers and trees, sea and sky, we give thanks for the world and its beauty. For family and friends, neighbors and cousins, we give thanks for friendship and love, for kind hearts, smiling faces, and helping hands. We give thanks for those who care for others, for wisdom that teaches us how to live. We give thanks for those who help us to understand how to live in peace and wholeness, and for making us one family on earth, the children of one God. We give thanks to God, who made all people different, yet alike. I'm going to share one more song before we invite our special guest to present her talk to us this morning. I'm going to mute for just a second in case there is a loud noise when I go to change from my phone over to my piano. So stand by just a second for me. All right. All right. If everyone can hear me, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear the piano?
Yes.
Right. Oh, when life appears unclear, love is the answer. When we're swimming in our fear, love is the answer. Love ourselves and one another, sister, brother, lover, love's the answer. Oh yeah. When we need to be okay, love is the answer. There's decisions to be made. very much. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our very special guest speaker today. I'd like to introduce you to Iyabo Onepede, co director of Compassionate Atlanta, who has been at One World before and who we always are glad to welcome back. Iabo's talk is entitled Compassionate Self Care. I'm really going to need to hear this one this morning, so I'm glad you're speaking on that. Many thanks to Iabo for sharing her wisdom with all of us. And now I hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful music. Thank you. I really enjoyed that and got into it. And for most of you, you know that One World is, I'm a regular now. During COVID, I think I've done a couple of videos, and prior to COVID, I'd come to your worship space, your gathering space a couple of times. And Melanie is always awesome to reach out to me and just talk and then ask if I could come speak to the group. And so it's an honor. Thank you. I really, really enjoy these relationships that develop over time and how we learn each other. And that's community to me, and that's a big part of my work. So, as co director of Compassionate Atlanta with Leanne Rubenstein, we bring our regards. I think Leanne has also spoken with you before. And my arm of the work has a lot to do with racial justice work and healing. And I've really, really, really enjoyed it. But also, I need to make a quick plug. Compassionate Atlanta is having our first ever Compassion Con. You know, Dragon Con and Comic Con. Well, we're doing a Compassion Con over the weekend of May 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So Friday and Sunday. Friday is about self compassion, and we'll have vendors throughout the city offering yoga and meditation and all kinds of wonderful things. And on Sunday, it's compassion for the earth. And we'll have you going out in the world and planting trees and going on hikes and enjoying the bounty of nature. And then Saturday will be at Grant Park, and we will gather together to embrace compassion of each other. I think Daniel the Tiger is going to be there. I'm pretty sure I just heard that this week. So we're going to have so much fun. Keep that on your radar. Look out for it. We would love our partners at One World Spiritual Center to be there. So that's how seriously we take compassion. So I look forward to you guys hearing about it. But let's talk about this thing called compassionate self-discovery. This particular subject really appeals to me for a multitude of reasons. I hear the word discovery and I think of the discovery doctrine, which was from, I don't know, the 1600s, that basically said, wherever we go and we find as imperial world leaders from Portugal and Spain, wherever we go and find and put our feet down, it's ours, right? That was the discovery doctrine. And so that is how Christopher Columbus discovered America, right? So let's look at that word discovered. So we know means to take off, right? To not be there. And then there's cover. So there's something being covered and you discover it, right? And even when you look up the Google etymology of the word discover, you see the same thing from 1300, divulge, reveal, disclose, expose, lay open to view, betray, as in you discover someone's secrets. Uncover, unroof, unveil, from the Latin of discopere, the opposite of covering, right? So there are lots of things we want to keep secret, hidden, private, not necessarily secret. So we uncover things, right? So that doctrine of discover always bugged me because I'm like, well, people, like real life breathing human beings, were like living there. You didn't discover them, you just uncovered them to your world. And so sometimes in discovery, we need to be careful about what we're owning as a result of discovery, right? There's an owning element. I discover oil on my land. Heck, it's mine, right? Is it really? If it's going to end up in that person's car down the street, is it really yours? But we in America, in this capitalism that we live in, we own, right? The goal is to own. So all of that to prep us up for what does compassionate self-discovery mean. Um, I think that I want us to switch from discovery as ownership to discovery of self. And when you look at discovery of self, what you're doing is in exploring an internal landscape, right? So I think of identity and who I am. That's a discovery process. So my father was, he's now gone on to the other side, as I call it. And one day I was with him in my 30s, and we met up with someone he knew. And this person said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "I am a lawyer," because I was practicing law back then. And my father just, with his very gruff African way, was like, "You are not a lawyer. You merely practice law." And I was like, but he first said, "You are not a lawyer." And I'm like, why is he saying that? Why? Of course I'm a lawyer. And then he said, "You merely practice law. It's not who you are, it's just what you do." And I was like, "Oh, okay, Daddy, thank you." And that lesson stayed with me because what we do is we have a role and we take that on and make it the sum total of who we are in our identity. So, what I'd like to do now is talk about identity, and I'm going to share my screen with you for a lovely little image I've created. As I talked about um, identity, as I researched it in my work, I found that really thinking and talking about identity is very important. And when people begin to understand their identity, they begin to unravel why they have certain biases and why the world is as it is right this minute, right? So oftentimes we think of identity, and in this highly individualized culture, we think identity means who I say I am. If I say I am Nigerian, I am Nigerian. That's where I come from. It's an individual's personal identity and a sense of belonging to a particular community of humans who share a similar specific heritage and culture, right? It is where I belong. However, a lot of times we don't recognize that who others say we are is who we are. It's part of the equation of identity. And the culture we live in dictates to us who we are. As a woman, I have to cover my upper torso up. I have to, right? Some people don't, but I choose to. If I were in a male body, I don't have to. I could walk around shirtless, not on a day like today because it's cold, but on a nice warm day, I could walk around topless. It is others. What if I was born with the urge to just walk around topless? Or in Africa, where I'm from, in the villages, in the remote areas that are not exposed to the Western world, women still walk around with just wraps around their hips, and their upper torso is open and free for all. right? In that culture, breasts are not sexualized. Here, because they're sexualized, we have to behave in ways of social acceptability. And the culture here says, cover up, women. And this culture is a system of ideas, attitudes, assumptions, and beliefs that encode the pattern of social relations of a particular human group, essential to its orderly social function. So I may want to drive 900 miles an hour, but that speed limit is 65, so I drive in that range, maybe 75 on a certain day. Who others say I am, I get to respond to, right? And so during the times of enslavement of human bodies, I would have had to be enslaved given my phenotype of color of my skin, right? Understand that piece is important as women, as people of color, as whatever, professionals, whatever. And then there's who I want to be. I'm faced with a situation. Do I, maybe it's a tight month. Do I pay my rent or do I do whatever else it is? I don't want to be homeless, so I choose to pay my rent as a priority, right? I move towards people like One World Christian Center who support my hopes, my desire to spread this gospel of social justice, of equality and equity for people, of belonging, right? You guys share my dreams. You're a space where I flourish. So I want to be with you, right? So my desires, the projections of my future are part of who I am. And so this identity is formed, but identity is not static. It is dynamic and changing, it's fluid, it's multi layered, it's relational, and it's also shaped by the cultural and social environment as well. And this is a Islamic teacher in town. Her name is Goldie Muhammad. She teaches young people and helps them with identity. She encourages schools to do culturally relevant teaching for children. Like if you continuously show, if you're teaching in a predominantly Black school and you're continuously showing kids how white, how they're white founders and creators and significant people in the culture, and you never show these young kids Black people that have also done great things, well, you are shaping their identity to be less than by as who others say I am. You're reflecting to them that the culture says they cannot be those things. So I'm very grateful for the work of Goldie Muhammad that helps us understand this idea of what is our identity and how do we discover it. So in your discovery process, if we were in a class or a workshop, I'd have you take out that notebook. Who do you say you are? Who do others say you are? I don't mean to pick on you, the person who was playing pianos, but there was a time I used to dye my hair blonde. And all of a sudden, people were like, oh, you're now a dumb blonde. And I'm like, huh? I wasn't dumb before. I'm not dumb now. Most blondes I know, including my mama, were not dumb. So don't say that, right? People put stuff on you, right? And in the meantime, it's gorgeous on you. So there's that. And so we put things on people, right? So when we say, who do you say you are? Who do others say you are, right? I posted something on Facebook yesterday about a woman who was having all these medical problems. And every time she went to the doctor, the doctor just said, well, you're overweight. If you lose weight, you'll stop having aches and pains. If you lose weight, you'll stop having those migraines. If you lose weight, you'll have more energy. So everything, she went to different doctors with complaints, they said the same thing. Well, she lost 75 pounds. And finally, they listened to her and said, when she said these things did not go away, and then they found a tumor somewhere, right? And that is fat bias in the medical system. You can actually be overweight and be healthy. And you should have seen the comments. The comments were their own wonderful thing where someone was like, are you saying it's not okay to lose weight? And I was like, you don't get the point, you know? But who others say you are? If you're fat, oh, you must be unhealthy, right? Think about that. How does that shape you? Then, um, who do you want to be? What are you saying to yourself, right? So this morning with the piano, we had some, you know, Zoom, whatever, sound technology. Were you blaming yourself? Were you saying you're not a good person? Um, Jennifer, were you saying, oh my God, why can't I ever get anything right? I do that to myself sometimes, but that's not saying who you are. Who you are is this beautiful, competent pianist, beautiful singer, and you showed up. And when hiccups came up, you beautifully resolved them and gave us a beautiful opening. And the person I want to be is appreciative of the gifts you bring to this space, right? The way you wanted to be, lend your gifts to the moment, right? So that's how we try to be who we want to be, our best ideal selves. And when we think about this definition of identity is who we are, the way we think about ourselves, the way we're viewed by the world, and the characteristics that define me. Compassion is one of the characteristics that define me. And when you think of a baby and what the baby is uncovering, instead of thinking of discovery, the word discovery, let's use the word uncovering. Babies love to chew their little toes. I can't get to my toe now. And they're chewing away, right? And they're discovering texture, taste, the wiggle in the mouth. It feels good, right? They know what they like with that, and then they know what they don't like, crying when there's a wet diaper, crying when they're hungry, looking so satisfied with the world when they've eaten. There's a survival aspect to that uncovering, but there's also this person just enjoying who they are. There's some babies, if their diaper is dirty, they don't care. My brother was like that in the family mythologies, right? My brother, as long as he ate, and he would grunt and sleep. My sister, oh my gosh, she had to have her diaper changed every hour. Still in her personality, super clean, super, whatever. And then we continue on. We discover our bodies, we discover the spaces around us. That's that little baby with a fork going for the electrical socket. It's an uncovering, right? Going to the fire, going to interesting and exciting things, stimulating the brain. Those are all discoveries. What are we doing today to discover parts of ourselves? What are we doing to read and say, oh, I've discovered something new? Oh, look at that documentary. Oh, look at that beauty. Oh, look at the smell of this. We use our five senses to continue to discover sensuality, right? Beauty in our spaces. How are we using our identities to discover new and creative ways of creating more social justice in the world? Right? Are we exploring what our role has been, what our ancestors have done? So I am talking about who people say they are versus who others say they are. One of my funny stories I tell people is how I didn't know I was Black. So I came from Nigeria when I was 16 years old, and I was biracial. My mother was a white Irish Jewish American, Irish and Polish Jewish American. My father was Nigerian. I understood myself to be a Yoruba woman, which is my Nigerian tribe, but I never saw myself as Black because Black meant extremely dark skinned to me, like Kofi Annan, not Barack Obama, more like Michelle Obama, right? That's what black meant to me, like your skin was super black. So in Nigeria, they use the word to describe white people to describe me as well. I never thought I was white, but I thought I knew myself to be biracial because my mom and dad were very equal in my life. I came to America and they were like, you black. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll be black, no problems, right? Well, I identify as biracial, but the space I'm in says I'm black. I'm not trying to disrupt anything. I'll be black. I still know who I am. Because in this space, if I say I'm biracial, it sounds like I'm trying to distance myself from being black, which is not what I'm trying to do. I just come from a solid cultural background that I honor and revere, yet I'm adopted into blackness in this space. And black means a very specific thing beyond your skin color in this space. So those are some of the ways I want you to understand why these nuances are important. When we seek out social justice issues, when we seek out belonging, welcoming people that don't look like us, creating spaces of belonging for them, making sure our spaces are diverse, not just with skin color, with gender, with sexuality, with gender identity, right? I um I read something by a trans person yesterday about Jesus and power, right? When Jesus was tempted by the devil and the power dynamics. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever read because this person's understanding of power was informed by their identity as a trans person, right? So there are gifts in diversity, right? Talk less of racial diversity and socioeconomic diversity, right? And then inclusion. Are we honoring the values and the gifts those people bring to the table that don't quite look like us? And are we creating equitable spaces? Equity, not equality. Equality says everybody's the same. Nope, I'm not the same as you, right? I may not be able to sit for an hour. Do we allow by accepting folks to just stand in the back of the room or wherever the heck they want? Little things. And then, the funniest thing that I find when I talk about identity, how often we reject our own selves. And what rejection means is, remember, discovery is uncovering, like taking the covers off. Well, rejection is saying, we're just going to keep the covers right there. I want to give you a quote by Henry Nouwen, like my favorite theologian ever. He was a Catholic priest, he was a pastoral care provider, and he was a gay man who was committed to his priesthood, to his call as a priest. And he says, over the years, I have come to realize that the greatest trap in our lives is not success, popularity, or power, but self rejection. Success, popularity, and power can indeed present a great temptation, but their seductive quality often comes from the way they are part of the much larger temptation to self rejection. When we have come to believe in the voices that call us worthless and unlovable, then success, popularity, and power are easily perceived as attractive solutions. The real trap, however, is self rejection. As soon as someone accuses me or criticizes me, as soon as I am rejected, left alone, or abandoned, I find myself thinking, well, that proves once again that I am a nobody. My dark side says, I am no good. I deserve to be pushed aside, forgotten, rejected, and abandoned. Self rejection is the greatest enemy of the spiritual life because it contradicts the sacred voice that calls us beloved. Being the beloved constitutes the core truth of our existence. So there is no discovery and self rejection. And I want us now to think about this African concept of Ubuntu. It is South African, the word is South African, but the concept is throughout all African cultures, which is I am because you are. I am a person, a people, a human, because in my engagement with you as other humans, we find each other. So when I discover myself, I discover you. When you discover yourself, you discover me. But when we discover the divine. The divine presents in the uncovering, right? And we are divine, and we live in a divine world. And the this presence of divinity, when I diminish you, I diminish divinity. When I diminish myself, I diminish divinity, right? And so when it comes to social justice work, the, my theological background com- propels me to move into uncovering bias and racism and disparity. Because as we uncover it, that is where we find the heart of God. That is where we find our belovedness. Even for the oppressor is in a role that they don't want to be in. They haven't uncovered who said you have to get stuff in life by oppressing others. Who told you that? Because oppression is an abuse of power that just covers. There is no discovery there. It is a way to pervert and avoid uncovering and discovering. And so, with that, I invite you to discover you, me, as well as the divine. Know that there are gifts there. And this is what compassionate self discovery means. We do our uncovering, our discovery with awe, with regard, with tenderness, with, with awareness of the holiness of it within ourselves, within others, and within our spaces. And with that, I bless your discovery. I bless your uncovering. May you find the sweetest, richest jewels within. Amen.
Thank you so very, very much for that phenomenal talk. You and I are the only two that I can see on the screen. And so I felt like you were just talking to, I had a whole, my own private session with you this morning. So thank you so very, very much for that really incredible talk. We just so appreciate having you. This is my first time experiencing you. So
Thank you.
well done, my friend. Well
I felt
done.
the same way too. I kept looking at you. I'm like, that's what I got.
Yeah, this is my audience. So all right. It's easier when you have somebody to get reactions from. So let's bring this into another prayer time. Since this is One World Spiritual Center, let's continue with the dialogue of prayer. Again, many thanks to Iabu for her talk. And this is our opportunity now to join in prayer. We take time to pray for each other, for our community, and for our world. And what I'd like to have all of us do now again is just go into a brief time of let's close our eyes and let's center ourselves and find our heart space. Do some more breathing in and out, conscious breathing in and out. And in this brief moment of prayer, we see all of the prayer requests that people may have in their hearts, that countries may have on their consciousness, that this planet may have. All of those prayer requests, all of those requests for love and for solution and for resolution. And we say, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you for answering our prayers for filling our hearts with love, for allowing us to be still and to be mindful and to be able to hear those answers as they come to us. We give thanks, and so it is. And now I'd like to invite Tim Rainey to come online. He is One World's board president, and he's going to talk to us about our donations, and he's also going to give our announcements. So welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Rainey, board president. And now I know I'm not just a board president, I only perform the duties of a board president. So thank you, Iabo. Many thanks to you for sharing your wisdom with us. And to Jennifer, thank you for leading our service and for your wonderful music. It was beautiful. This is our opportunity to give our gifts and offerings in support of One World. I'd like to thank you so much for your generosity in supporting our programs. You make all the difference. We have several options for giving, including PayPal, our church app Tithely, credit card, or simply sending us a check. You can check these out by going to our website and clicking the giving link, which will take you to these various options. We commit all your gifts to the continued work of One World, spreading our message of understanding, peace, and compassion in our world. Thank you so much. And now for some announcements. We appreciate your flexibility today in changing the gathering to an online service. Our next in-person gathering will be on April 10th at Mosaic Films. We'll also be meeting in person on Easter, April 17th, and more to come on that next week. Wednesday, March 16th at 7 p.m., we'll get together via Zoom for our community circles. We'll talk about one lesson of Purim, the ability of one person to change many lives for the better. In preparation for this discussion, Reverend Melanie asked each of you to think of 3 people who, in your view, have stepped up and changed lives. We'll share these stories and explore what we think enabled these remarkable people to step up. Our speaker next week will be Reverend Chris Kell, and in honor of Women's History Month, she'll be exploring the divine feminine. Please join us for that. In addition, as this month is Women's History Month, we are looking for a good outing opportunity honoring women's history. If you have any ideas or thoughts, please let us know. Contact myself or Reverend Melanie, or email us at info@oneworldspiritualcenter.net. It would be fun to get together and at the same time learn more about women's history. If you have any prayer requests during the week, please email them to us or call Reverend Melanie and we'll include them in our service. And lastly, if you have any other announcements or you have announcements you'd like us to include in next week's service, please let us know. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
So as we close today, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us, and I wish you a joyful and peaceful week. I invite you to listen to our closing benediction from John O'Donohue. May you recognize in your life the presence, power, and light of your soul. May you realize that you are never alone, that your soul, in its brightness and belonging, connects you intimately with the rhythm of the universe. May you have respect for your own individuality and difference. May you realize that the shape of your soul is unique, that you have a special destiny here, that behind the facade of your life, there is something beautiful, good, and eternal happening. May you learn to see yourself with the same delight, pride, and expectation with which God sees you in every moment. Many blessings to all of you today. We are now concluded. Have a blessed day, and please join us for our Zoom fellowship. Thank you so much, and namaste, everyone.